The world is a different place today.
We cannot ignore the global security issue that could impact millions around the world.
Without immediate action to support developing countries, inequalities and poverty will deepen, not to mention the geopolitical divide.
We're on the cusp of not only a climate catastrophe, but also an economic catastrophe.
The inflation rate soaring to its highest level in 30 years. Costs are going up everywhere.
Food, electricity, water, medicine. It's a very pressing situation.
But we're dealing with 7.8 billion people on Earth that need and rely on this supply chain system.
We are challenged by the number of people in need.
And these people are suffering in such a devastating way. They can't, how are they supposed to get through the day?
No, don't be sorry.
We all know that we're past the point of no return.
We lost 60% over to recycle, 9% of
It's really a horrifying situation, and as a world,
technological disruption.
Incredible inequality and a planetary emergency.
Jesus is coming. It's time to wake up. Bible prophecy, much like a puzzle, is made up of many pieces that fit together to illustrate a larger picture. Even before the puzzle is complete, the larger picture becomes clearer and more distinct as the final pieces are set in place. As we look with bated breath on all the events transpiring around us, may we come to the realization that prophecy's grand puzzle is almost complete.
Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room.
The Great Reset.
Great Reset.
The Great Reset.
the Great Reset.
Great Reset.
The 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 Great Reset.
Time to reset our policies and to work jointly for a peaceful and prosperous world.
Whenever a government claims to have the people's interest at heart, you need to think again. In the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite sincerely concerned about the well-being of regular people. What makes any of us think that it is different now? If the age of enlightenment has brought forth anything, then certainly this. Never take anything any government tells you at face value. Always question everything any government does or does not do. Always look for ulterior motives and always ask, cui bono, who benefits? Whenever a political elite pushes an agenda this hard and resorts to extortion and manipulation to get their way, you can almost always be sure your benefit is definitely not what they had at heart.
And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one.
I'm really afraid that we are running into a global recession with a tremendous effect, not only about on climate protection and climate action, but of the global stability at all.
It's a hurricane. Right now it's kind of sunny, things are doing fine. Everyone thinks the Fed can handle this. That hurricane is right out there down the road coming our way.
In order to effectively establish a monetary system that will prevent buying and selling, as mentioned in Revelations 13, a current fiat system must come to an end. This will result in the establishment of the new economic order.
And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy.
Looking forward, rapid changes are taking place in the global monetary system that may affect the international role of the dollar in the future. As our white paper on this topic notes, a U.S. CBDC could also potentially help maintain the dollar's international standing.
The United States might be on the brink of creating a digital dollar. In March, President Biden signed an executive order tasking federal agencies with exploring crypto regulations, including the development of a central bank digital currency. According to the Bank of International Settlements, in order for CBDCs to ensure transparency and combat illicit activities, full anonymity is not plausible. CBDCs can also be programmed and personalized to only be spent on specific items or within a limited time frame. This function is called programmability.
Say a government wants to distribute aid to people after a natural disaster, right? So in theory, the way programmable money would work is okay, so I'm distributing this aid and you can only use this money for food or clothing or medicine, but you can't use it to go buy cigarettes. But the other side of that, I think, which people are concerned about is can you use that programmable money to block certain people out of the financial system or restrict their freedom in some way? I think that makes a lot of people very deeply uncomfortable.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
We talk about programmability of digital money as this really exciting thing when it's in the hands of the individual. And now we're starting to realize that as long as governments want to get involved with this too, this could be a very chilling tool in the hands of government, but they could further curtail the choices of individuals in terms of what people are allowed to spend their money on.
I don't think a lot of people were thinking about programmable money could mean that it's dictated to me on how I spend my money that I've earned. So programmable money means that, like you said, Naomi, the government could have a say in how the money is spent. It also means that the money could expire. And it also means that, the government has full visibility into all the transactions that are made. So this is very scary.
For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also we will have the technology to enforce that.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Clearly, we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe, because we see what is happening in China right now with the social credit score, where the government is monitoring and surveilling all the people from the beginning to end. Everything that they do, everything, everywhere where they walk, they control everything and they watch everything. All these things that are creating a system that will monitor, control, supervise, and condition the rights of all the European citizens.
The establishment of a global digital surveillance system will serve as a means to identify and ultimately isolate those that refuse to go along with the system.
Government officials claim the Smart Citizen Wallet app will work much like a grocery store rewards program. Those who recycle, conserve energy, and use public transportation, for instance, will earn a higher rating along with points they can apply toward prizes, all for being good citizens.
So we have within our business something called AMAP, which is a mapping, so think Google Maps or Waze, plus travel destination business. And so what we're going to do is allow people to first calculate the best route, the most efficient route, and also the most efficient form of transportation. And then if they take advantage of those recommendations, we'll give them bonus points that they can redeem elsewhere on our platform. Wow. So they're incentivized to do the right thing, even if they were provided with the opportunity to decide to do the wrong thing.
A similar system is already in use in Rome, with citizens in Bologna expected to have access in September. after the completion of its current trial phase. An official behind the digital incentive program stresses use of the app will be entirely voluntary, while critics warn it's eerily similar to the non-voluntary social credit system in China.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker.
When the government knows everything about you, where you go, what you eat, where you enter, that's the tyrannical system. And we've seen this system being implemented right now under the leadership of Ursula von der Leyen, slowly but surely in the European Union.
You may not have realised it when you were out shopping, but facial recognition software is being increasingly used by some of Australia's big retailers. Many are using CCTV to store data on you, according to consumer group Choice.
This is technology that actually takes a digital image of your face, it scans it and it identifies it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily at that point know who you are, but it does sort of form a profile. It will then match it to other profiles in a database and it will store that information. So it means if the computer, the technology thinks that you've been somewhere before that's recorded in that database, it will put those two records together and it will continue to do that over time.
As in times past, the followers of Christ will be hunted like beasts of prey. They will be condemned as rebels, as foes of religion, and pests to society.
One scan of your face and your whole identity can be revealed.
It feels like it's like an invasion of privacy sometimes. It doesn't make me feel safe. It doesn't feel good to be watched.
Facial and number plate recognition technology is about to be rolled out in the CBD, matching faces to databases provided by the government or private companies. It'll give police unprecedented power to track and arrest suspects.
What we don't know is what they're then doing with those images. Certainly lots of people that we surveyed are concerned that this will be used to create profiles.
And then, I'm afraid the one that I am going to sound, I guess, rather apocalyptic about is food. And that is a major worry, and it's not just, I have to tell you, a major worry for this country, it is a major worry for the developing world as well.
Also turning to grains, as we get a warning from the United Nations and Grow Intelligence saying that the world only has 10 weeks worth of wheat consumption in its reserves.
We currently only have 10 weeks of global consumption sitting in inventory around the world. Conditions today are worse than those experienced in 2007 and 2008. It is important to note that the lowest grain inventory levels the world has ever seen are now occurring, while access to fertilizers is highly constrained, and drought in wheat-growing regions around the world is the most extreme it's been in over 20 years.
A perfect storm of several problems is decimating the world food supply. It's being called the biggest food crisis since World War II. Russia and Ukraine together produce almost 1/3 of the world's wheat, but Ukrainian farmers have been sidelined by the war, and Russia has banned exports.
They've got to be planting again and harvesting again. If they don't, then you're going to have a global supply problem. You got catastrophe coming to catastrophe. So don't be surprised if you don't see destabilization in several nations over the next 6 to 9 months.
The spirit of unrest, of riot, and of bloodshed are rife as food insecurities exacerbate an already fragile system.
Anger and frustration on the streets of Colombo. Months of shortages with no end in sight.
We need a gas, only gas.
I am a mother, my child I have. I can't give anything to ask my child.
For days, chaos in Peru. Roadblocks on fire as protesters throw rocks and sticks at police. Authorities shooting tear gas into crowds as they march towards the legislative palace in Lima.
Demonstrators have been taken to the streets across Peru, at times clashing with police.
We have to work double
help each other financially. We have to do overtime, work all day.
Sugar was 2.5 soles a week ago. Right now it's 6. Chicken was 12 soles 2 days ago. Now it's 16.
We must go from harming our planet to healing it.
We must protect what we have and bring back what we lost to advance to a more sustainable future where everyone can thrive.
Humanity has come together before to prevent environmental catastrophes.
We have helped repair the ozone layer.
We have restored millions of hectares of land and marine ecosystems, protecting thousands of species. And we've banned dangerous pollutants,
saving countless lives. Let those victories be the torches that ignite more action and illuminate the path to a world in which we are once again at peace with nature.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. The fire here mentioned in Revelation 13 that comes down from heaven is calculated not to burn, but to deceive.
Wildfires are raging and reservoirs are draining, and it's not even summer yet.
We knew climate change would stress our water supplies, and we've been preparing for it, but we did not know it would happen this fast.
For the first time ever, officials in Southern California are declaring a water shortage emergency, warning they only have a little more than half the water needed to get through the rest of the year.
As natural disasters increase, the faith community will unite to declare that these calamities are the judgments of God upon the earth, and that men are offending God by the violation of the Sunday Sabbath.
40 religious leaders gathered at the Vatican on Monday to add their voice to the growing chorus calling for world leaders to take real action to tackle the crisis.
I call on all young people, regardless of their religion, to be ready to fight against any action that may damage the environment or increase the climate crisis.
Together, faith and science, people of different faith can transform fear in hope, anxiety in confidence, inaction into action.
Their solution? Sunday worship enforced by law, which is the mark of the Roman Catholic Church, the beast of Revelation.
Ha ridotto l'inquinamento e ha fatto riscoprire la bellezza di tanti luoghi liberi dal traffico e dai rumori. Ora con la ripresa dell'attività tutti dovremmo essere più responsabili della cura della casa comune.
Probably we should be debating a bill requiring every American to attend a church of their choice on Sunday to see if we can get back to having a moral rebirth.
History is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.